ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादे पश्चात्तदेशधारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you once again for joining with us. Today we are discussing about the war and the consequences of the war and Arjuna's mindset, his valor, his reaction to different results. Now, in those 18 days, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita from Sri Krishna, Arjuna was basically enlightened intellectually. His emotions were controlled, they were stabilized. But still, his disposition was same kindness, softness, concern, pained, and therefore, more than the war results, we will see how Arjuna handled. Now, the first battle Arjuna had to fight was none other than Bhishma Dev. Right, the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna by Sri Krishna for one reason, not because he had confusion about his warriorship, not because Arjuna had a confusion in regards to should I fight or give up everything out to the forest. He did not have the conflict of his material duties and his spiritual depth. The confusion was not there. The confusion was only in regards to I have to bring down the most important people in my life. And therefore, what do we learn from Arjuna's journey in those 18 days? Is that certain things you cannot change. It doesn't matter who you are. Arjuna is a devotee of Krishna, the friend of Krishna, the great student of the Vedas, the great student of the Dhanurvidya, right? His material side did not change. He still had to face the Dvandva, duality. But because of Bhagavad Gita, because of his devotion, because of his yoga, the externals did not change, but he developed the capacity how to handle the external. Whether it is shooting at Bhishma or seeing Bhishma Dev lie on the bed of arrows, whether it is fighting from first day to 9th day, going through so many emotions, that is life, right? Many times, those who are adults, they consider the war of Mahabharata is too gruesome to deal with. But they are fighting in the court, right, for a small, ordinary battle with their own relatives, friends, family members. While some other undermining the entire 18 days of battle where Sri Krishna was personally involved. Even after being involved on the battlefield, the dualities did not disappear. Right, few days back there was a debate, became very famous. The debate about existence of God and non-existence of God. But the premises of this both people is so superficial, right? If you study common sense that is there in the Vedas, what does it say? That dvandva cannot be eradicated, conflict cannot be eradicated. That is how Prakriti works. And Prakriti and Jiva are as eternal as God Himself. God does not create Prakriti the way we understand. It is not like a factory you produce car. It is not like a factory where you produce vehicles. It is not like a field where you produce cabbage. Right? Is eternally existing, manifesting, unmanifesting, manifesting, unmanifesting. Therefore, nobody in this world can change the laws of nature. And what is that laws of nature? The laws of nature is full of duality. 2.14 Krishna has told Arjuna, giving that indication. So when Arjuna faced Bhishma Dev on first day, there was a fresh feeling of hearing Bhagavad Gita. But when he faced with Bhishma on the first day of battlefield, unfortunately Arjuna did not do very well. The Kurus basically had overpowered the Pandavas. On the second day of the battlefield, before the second day battlefield began, Yudhishthira Maharaj was very despondent. He said, Krishna, what is the point in fighting? Let me go to the forest. It doesn't matter who one is, whether it is Yudhishthira or someone who is called as Yudhishthira Das. Dvandva, going down, going up, higher emotions, lower emotions, these are part of human existence, especially when you are dealing with the most difficult task. And what does Krishna do? Krishna, the way he pacifies the Pandavas, right? He does not change things, but he makes them changed people for the same situation what they are going through. And what happened in the second day of the battlefield? On the second day of the battlefield, Arjuna was ruthless, right? He fought valiantly. The Pandavas felt very good, right? They came back having a upper hand on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. On the third day of the battle, when it began, now this is very interesting. When Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita, it is not that instantly he was able to implement the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, because it doesn't work like that. His emotions were still going back and forth. He was hesitant to attack Bhishma Dev. How could he? Because Bhishma Dev was not simply great personality, he is profoundly authentic. He had limitless affection to the Pandavas. He loved the Pandavas so dearly. He knew Pandavas' destiny, what is their background, what is their destiny. He knew very clearly, but unfortunately had chosen to fight against the Pandavas. But that did not minimize Arjuna's love for his grandfather. Right? Imagine what he must have gone through. On the third day of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna he was fighting very well, but still he was hesitant. Imagine the great warrior with all kinds of divine weapons. There could be no more hesitation in regards to shooting, bringing down anybody. Be it Indra or other devatas also. He is protected by Lord Krishna, having all the divine weapons. Like fighting Bhishma, there was no matter of concern to Arjuna. Right? Because of his good heart. So when you see the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the battle is not brutal ground, unlike what happened few days ago in Bangladesh, right? You will not find one story other than the story of Abhimanyu wherein a soldier is ridiculed, is abused, is tortured, and people are shooting with their videos. A simple, ordinary Hindu, right? What harm could he have created to any one of them? Right? Then what do we say? अरे नहीं ये देखना नहीं, डिस्टर्ब हो जाता. कितना सेल्फिश है हम लोग. It is good to be disturbed, right? And that is what the Mahabharata battle teaches. One great saintly person explain, when you hear the story of Mahabharata, especially the battleground, it is not the tears will come from your eyes, the blood will ooze out. Imagine with all the power, all the destructive energy, Arjuna, whether it is Bhurishrav, whether it is Dronacharya, whether it is Bhishma, whether it is Bhagadatta, whether it is Jayadrath, the reluctancy to be violent was always there. Only those who are reluctant to be violent, they are qualified to create a controlled violence. So on the third day, as the battle was progressing, Arjuna again went through this whole cycle of going up and going down. And Bhishma was causing such an havoc. Imagine such an amazing story here. One's kindness, one's compassion is not always beneficial. Delaying in justice caused by compassion and kindness causes greater harm to the society. Bhishma was slaughtering the Pandava army. And why was he slaughtering? Because he was great warrior, one thing. And more importantly, that great warrior was faced by Arjuna with lackluster mindset. Should I do it? Should I not do it? What is the point? So by seeing Arjuna's mindset, Sri Krishna, who is the most perfect being in regards to refine feminine qualities, kindness, graciousness, magnanimity, forgiveness, right? What does he do? He jumps off the chariot, invokes the Sudarshan Chakra, and he runs towards Bhishma with all fury, about to destroy Bhishma, right? And Bhishma seeing Krishna come there, what did he do? He raised his both hand, calling out, please come, my dear Lord, please come, Yashodanandan, please come, Devakinandan, please come. I'm waiting for this moment. How strange, right? That Bhishma is celebrating Krishna coming to him with raised weapons, willing to die, but he was not willing to change the side from the Kaurus to the Pandavas. Ye kitna viparyas, what an irony. Not only was not willing to change, his battle-hardened qualities was slaughtering the Pandavas' army. So Krishna couldn't tolerate this. This cannot go. Somewhere this has to stop. Therefore, daya is not always profitable. kindness is not always profitable, not only financial loss, it has the power to create great human loss also. Now one may say, ultimately how many people lived anyway, whether it is today or tomorrow. No, every day matters. Living one extra day is always better than dying one day early. We don't realize, the soldier realizes it. Right, so therefore Krishna wanted to stop that. He jumped off. Arjuna ran behind Krishna, was dragging, trying to stop Krishna. Please, 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 my lord, I will do it. Karshati iti Krishna, one who drags one to somewhere else. Arjuna pleaded, begged Krishna, I will do that. In the conclusion of the third day battle, what happened? Arjuna did damage Kuru army immensely. He was able to destroy the Kuru army in large scale. When they went back, there was silence. At the same time, there was confidence. We can do it. In the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th day battle, 8th day battle, many significant soldiers may not be very famous. Shweta, Uttara, Arjuna's son Irvan. Right? We know the story of Uttar. He was so scared to be on the battlefield, seeing the army of the Kurus. He was infinitely disturbed. As a Kshatriya, he chose to run away rather than have his honor. And Arjuna had grabbed him, brought him back and gave such a confidence and became victorious single-handedly during the battle of Virata. That was the background of Uttar Kumar. Now on the battle of Kurukshetra, by coming in contact with Arjuna, he fought such a fierce battle. He caused great challenge to Bhishma Dev. You know, so another son, Shanku, he also caused so much Shweta. He also caused so much damage to the Kuru army. Bhishma had to eliminate them. Irvan, the son of Babruha, son of Ulupi. Babruhan is the son of Chitrangada. Irvan also laid down his life. Arjuna come to Krishna. Krishna, is it required? What is the point of this war, my dear Lord? Right, the subjective reality will always tell us not to fight. A subjective reality flavored with softness does not see facts. It only sees the emotions. Therefore, Arjuna said, Krishna, what is the point? All this so waste of time. But again, Krishna pacified Arjuna. The battle continued. 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, 7th day, 8th day. On the 9th day again, right, Arjuna as usual not fighting so great. Today's spirit was fighting low, other days fighting high. And the battle ensued very brilliantly. All sides were attacking each other, boastful shoutings, blowing of the conch, horses making sound, elephant trumpeting. On the 9th day again, Krishna saw the same phenomena. Right, what does he do? Again he jumps off his chariot. Now his 2 hands became powerful weapon. Imagine those hands would hit Bhishma Dev, he would faint instantly. But what happened? Fortunately, when Krishna jumped off the chariot, 10 step Arjuna was dragged by Krishna. Arjuna saying, Krishna, please don't break promise, I will do it. Right? the way Krishna gives confidence are amazing. It is amusing. So Bhishma was ready to die. And what happened? Arjuna stopped Krishna. I said, do not break your promise. I will do that. When they went to the camp, what happened? Yudhishthira was despondent. He was sad. And the 10th day, Krishna has decided that Bhishma had to go. I will take the responsibility. All of them come to meet Bhishma Dev, asking him how to kill you. Imagine a grandfather who they loved more than their very life is being asked how to kill you on the battlefield. And Bhima said, Bhishma said, I had given you a certain clue. And he spoke about Shikhandi, who happened to be a woman in his last lifetime. She looked like a woman. So Arjuna, keeping Bhishma in the chariot, had decided, I will do. But as they met with Bhishma, when they come back, what Arjuna goes through, the outburst between him and Krishna, especially Arjuna speaking to Krishna with outburst, is simply fascinating. Right? Arjuna was able to see his grandfather in only one color, the color pink in one sense, the color of love. He was able to see in only one color, the color of respect. He was able to see in only one color, the color of devotion to Krishna. So when you are seeing the color of love, color of friendly raising, color of devotion, where in the world you will have the power to shoot? He said, Krishna, how Krishna I can do this? The example is given. Now the example is that Arjuna, when you paint a canvas with using different color, you don't use color which is liked by you. You use the color appropriate to the art itself. Yes, poetry, art is full of emotional expression. But even with that emotional expression, the painter has to be extremely careful which color to place. Krishna told Arjuna, Arjuna, you are looking for that those color, they remind you of good things. And therefore it is your duty, your responsibility to bring down Bhishma Dev. On the 10th day, when the battle of Kurukshetra began, imagine what Arjuna must have gone through. He is not an ordinary soldier. Anyone, if he was an ordinary soldier, they treated very well. His great grandfather Bhishma Dev, the clan of the Kurukul, who was so dear to the Pandavas, where Arjuna had touched his heart, Arjuna would come crying from the field, hugging Bhishma Dev, dirtying his body because he would come from outside. He did everything for Arjuna when Arjuna was fatherless. Now what Arjuna had to do? Arjuna had to shoot at Bhishma Dev. It was not very easy. Krishna convinced him. He came to the chariot. He remembered Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna privately. Of course, publicly in his heart offered prayers to certain, Shakti invoking. And then keeping Shikhandi on the chariot next to him, giving full indication to the Kurus, some inauspiciousness is coming to you. And what a battle it was. It was a painful battle, at the same time very fascinating. These contradictory emotions are only possible in relationship to Dharma Yuddha. How is it possible you will have a contradictory emotions? You think anybody that day when they were lynching that Bengali Hindu, burning and murdering him in the middle of the street, paint, shooting the video. And what made them do like that? Not their human quality, their quality of being my faith being superior. When a faith claims that I am superior at the cost of sensitivity and dharma, the brutality what they can cause is unimaginable. Right? Here in the Pandavas camp, there is no celebration only. Yes, there is victory, but that victory had a cost of limitless separation from the family. Shikandi was sitting. Arjuna, when he caught Bhishma Dev, the way he released arrows in the body of Bhishma Dev, not allowing even a small needle to be inserted. And as he was receiving the arrows of Arjuna, Bhishma Dev recites many mantras. And the essence of this mantra, Arjun, your arrows are so powerful. And what are these arrows? These arrows are as powerful as the mother when she gives birth to the scorpion. The baby scorpion burst open the belly of the mother and they come to this world. So Bhishma, as Arjuna was shooting each arrow, which was entering into, the very thick metal thing, right? What was he saying? These are Arjuna's arrows. These are not Shikandi's arrows. These are Arjuna's arrows. These are not Shikandi's arrows. And eventually, every arrow entered into Bhishma's body, having no space. He just collapsed on the ground. Imagine there was no celebration from either party. The Kuru's party and the Pandavas party, the fall of Bhishma on the bed of arrows is the most painful prasanga in the Mahabharata during this 18 days. Now what are nuances, what are art? Just this part, Arjuna meeting Krishna, reluctant, Krishna running to Bhishma Dev, Arjuna promising to Bhishma, Bhishma taking over again, promising, right? So Arjuna, what he went through in this entire episode of seeing his grandfather go down with so many emotions, he comes down on the battleground, he's lying down. Towards the end of the day, the Pandavas, Kauravas both come to him. Both are despondent. Nobody is able to celebrate. The Pandavas are not able to celebrate the victories, and the Kurus are not able to express their despondency. They're stunned when they come. What does Arjuna see? What does Arjuna see? His body was lying on the bed of arrows, right? And the neck was basically hanging. Arjuna releases 3 arrows and gives a shelter to Bhishma's neck. Bhishma is so happy to see that. Arjuna is crying, right? And then Bhishma wanted to drink some water. अपने ही grandfather को putting in that condition, after putting him in that condition, you are asked to give water. Everybody tried to bring water, but what did Arjuna do? He knew his grandfather so well. No, Arjuna brought waters from Mother Ganga. Varunastra से जल की उत्पत्ति की, directly coming into the mouth of Bhishma. He said, if you had not done this, my dear Arjuna, I would have cursed you. And that great Bhishma for next 58 days was lying on the bed of arrows, waiting for the sun to travel northern direction, waiting to see that Krishna Chandra come to him at the death time, waiting for the Pandavas to take over the kingdom. Therefore, when you study the Mahabharata, especially those 18 days, it takes a lot of courage to read, right? And to emulate those qualities of a warrior, a philosopher, or an ordinary human, how they handle challenges. Bhishma has come down, the Kuru army is despondent, broken. What happened? Dronacharya takes over. He becomes commander in chief and is much fierce in regards to emotions. He did love Arjun, but Mahabharata explicitly explains that Dronacharya stopped seeing Arjuna as a student. Right? He was no more a student. And Arjuna still had the emotion of, he is my teacher, he is my guru. The 5 days battle may not be as heroic as Drona when Bhishma was there, but it was fierce. It had many layers of deception also. And one of the deception is trying to take Arjuna away from the battlefield. So what they did, they created the Samshaptakas. Now Samshaptakas means those who curse themselves. They would not go back to their camp unless they beat their opponent. If they do not beat the opponent, they are beaten by the opponent. They are called as Swayam Saptakas. अपने आप को शाप देने वाले. So Trigartha brothers. In one day, in one of the battle, this Trigartha brother basically took Arjuna to faraway place. And Arjuna knew that was not a good idea to do. But there was no other option, there was no other choice. Because Dronacharya had presented the Chakra Vyuha. And these Vyuhas are extremely not stagnant, they are constantly moving. When you study Chakra Vyuha, Vajra Vyuha, Ardha Chandra Vyuha, Krauncha Vyuha, Padma Vyuha, and this was the Chakra Vyuha. The Chakra Vyuha would constantly move. Imagine आपकी बड़ी सेना, most of your army is moving with such a speed. What is the chances of you piercing that human chain of chakra? Right? And there was no one competent into entering into Chakra Vyuha other than Krishna, Arjuna, I think Pradyumna, maybe Dronacharya, Bhishma Dev, and this boy, Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu knew how to enter, he did not know the art of coming out. So he was hoping the supply will come, the support will come, the covering will come. But unfortunately the covering did not come because of the only one reason, that timely entrance of the Pandavas did not happen, because Jayadrath had the benediction from Lord Shiva. At least one day he will defeat the Pandavas excluding Arjuna. Therefore Arjuna was taken away to some other place. Alright, and Arjuna, Abhimanyu comes. What a personality. No? He is like one of the great freedom fighter Khudiram Bose, died when he was 17 year old, holding Bhagavad Gita in his hand. He knew the entire Bhagavad Gita contest. 17 year old boy entering into the den of death for the cause of his great Punya Bhumi, happily dying, hoping to do it once again for many times. So when the Pandavas were in the precarious condition, nobody could penetrate. Arjuna was elsewhere. Who will go? Who decided to go? Abhimanyu decided to go. Yudhishthira was reluctant. He said no, but he couldn't stop him. Dekho, people say, oh, there are so much this thing. But when a war is happening, the king, even though knows very well there are less chances of my nephew returning back, what does Yudhishthir Maharaj do? Even though he's saying no, 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 but he doesn't stop Abhimanyu from entering into that great Chakravyuha, hoping that other Pandavas will enter once Abhimanyu breaks. But unfortunately was stopped by who? He was stopped by Jayadrath because he had got that benediction. Right? And those 6 Maharathis, the way they pounced upon Abhimanyu, Duryodhan, Dushasan, Shakuni, Ashwathama, Bhurishrava, Karna, and Dronacharya. Right? He was surrounded by all the sides. Just like this Bengali boy, young man, was tortured and killed by the unruly animals in the name of Islam, taking videos. And how much pain his family will go through. What an insult. Apparently it is explained that the Pandavas, other than Arjuna, they could see the Chakravyuha but they could not enter inside. They wanted to be there to protect Abhimanyu, but they were not able to. And this Maharathis, even the heavenly people spoke about this most heinous war of murdering Arjuna's son Abhimanyu, attacking him from all the sides, because on their own alone they could never have fought. And what the battle that lad fought. They insulted him, they ridiculed him, they cheated him, they attacked him. He took all of them on himself and caused such an immense damage to the Kaurava army, right, while dying. The damage what he did to the Kuru army, and the son of Duryodhan, son of Dushasan, slaughtered him. His life hair had gone out of his body. Meanwhile, Arjuna, who had gone to fight the Samshaptakas, right, when he was coming back, he could feel great despondency. He knew in the heart of his heart something wrong must have happened, because nobody knew the art of piercing the Chakravyuha except my son, but nobody taught him how to come out. They had taught him how to go. Arjuna's mind was reeling. In one sense, it was as painful as he was when he had not heard Bhagavad Gita. This was not simply mind, it was a reality. And what does Krishna deal with? Krishna follows the rule: do not convey the bad news till the bad news reaches to the recipient. No need to give them. Krishna gave the indication. He spoke about the nature of battle. When Arjuna came there, he saw his son is not coming to pick him up. He said, what happened? Every day he comes. Yudhishthir, and say everybody is safe, all the seniors are safe. When he heard the entire story of Abhimanyu's departure, Arjuna went through so much of painful disposition. Right? He broke down. He was angry. He was upset. He was hurt. He's condemned the whole concept of war. Krishna pacified. Other devatas pacified. Great sages pacified Arjuna. And what was one thing? Arjuna learned a very brilliant lesson here. Any nation or any civilization has to thrive, one of the most important part of thriving civilization, that you do not forgive your enemy. As an individual you can forgive, right? When it is a dealing between a person to person, that is possible to forgive. But when it comes to rogue nation, when it comes to rogue state, when it comes to rogue community, right, they cannot be allowed to be united because they become deadly people. Now, this is a very interesting story. Arjuna was remembering that, but he did not remember completely. When Arjuna was fighting, whom was he fighting? He was fighting to capture Jayadrath, who was trying to ridicule the Pandavas in the one of the Vanas. So, this Jayadrath, when he got attracted to Draupadi, he stole her. And she was crying out, Daumya she was crying out, and then the Pandavas headed by Bhima and Arjuna reached that spot. As they were living, there is a big story of Bhishma, Yudhishthira Maharaj convincing. I will not get into that detail, we are focusing on Arjuna. As they were living towards saving this Jatayu, protecting Draupadi, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, hey, please do not kill him. He is the only family member, the husband of who? Husband of Dushala, don't kill him. Oh God, Bhima was very upset. This untimely compassion, it is called as suicidal empathy, or it is called as Sadgunachi Vikriti. And this suicidal empathy or Sadgunachi Vikriti has the power to destroy civilization. Compassion and kindness could be person to person. Compassion and kindness could be for those who are undernourished, under-empowered. You support them while giving the values of Dharma. Right? But that compassion to biggest crook is the greatest trouble. So when the Pandavas went, Bhima and Arjuna went to fight Jayadrath, they captured him, Bhima captured him, and Bhima was about to slaughter him. He forgot the vows which he has given. Arjuna said, no, don't do like this. And that became a turning point. Was it right on the part of the Pandavas to leave Jayadrath? That's the story to ponder. Right? But we know the consequences what happened. Of course, when Arjuna came, he was in tears, he was despondent, he was pacified. Right? And next day, Arjuna, as we all know, he had taken a vow of killing Jayadrath before the sun is set. A tough vow. But that vow was taken out of emotion, but with the confidence of Krishna. Right? When we study the story of Prahlad, story of Dhruva, story of Pandavas, what is the forefront in our mind? Krishna comes and protects. We should remember that was the time of Krishna's appearance. Krishna was there, he was visibly there with the Pandavas. Right? In this age of Kali, expecting God to interfere in our day-to-day life doesn't go well with the scriptures. Right? You don't see around that. That does not mean that God is not involved in our life. But our understanding of God's involvement has to be different than what the Pandavas experienced. Because here Krishna was more like a friend, philosopher, guide. No? He was more like a friend rather than all of these things. He became a philosopher, no doubt. And that mistake of Arjuna cost the Pandavas so much. Now you can imagine why Krishna jumped off his chariot, willing to break his very prana, Krishna, right? Willing to break his own vow of not raising weapons. But he came there because he knew, if I don't take action at this right time, Bhishma has the power to destroy. So Jayadrath was released by Arjuna, and Arjuna had to pay the price of Shatru Sesha Asheshata. And then from there, the death of Bhurishrava is also very profound, very, very profound. That how Bhurishrava, being elderly relative, he had so much, respect for his own self, Bhurishrava. And he had an issue with Satyaki. Satyaki's Bhurishrava's battle was so fierce, and Bhurishrava was about to slaughter Satyaki. Krishna said, Arjuna, what are you looking? Satyaki is your limb. Bhagwan ne ye nahi kaha ki Satyaki aapka yodha hai, aapka rakshak hai. He said, Satyaki is none other than your extended limb. Stop, protect the limb. Right? Because Bhurishrava was about to slaughter Satyaki, Arjuna cut off his hand. Bhurishrava's hand was cut off, Satyaki was protected. Bhurishrava started looking, what happened? Who did this to me? Then he saw Krishna and Arjuna on the chariot. And Bhurishrava said, I know this must be Krishna brainwashing you to do all this thing. Otherwise, how do you do that? Even though Bhurishrava was wrong, but he was trying to put certain messages through, to our Arjuna. Right? So, when Bhurishrava was killed by Arjuna, he looked at Arjuna, he chastised Arjuna. I said, I can understand you have done only because this Vasudeva Krishna is there. And what did Arjuna say? Brilliantly, he said, my dear Bhurishrava, you have to understand, Satyaki is my Anga Rakshaka. Anga means what? He is my Anga. In Anga Rakshaka could have two meanings. Arjuna's protector of body limb, or becoming an extended limb of Arjuna. So therefore, he is not different from Arjuna. So Arjuna told Bhurishrava, it is not about killing you. I was simply protecting my own bodily limb. And this is my extended limb. This is my body. Of course, Bhurishrava was not willing to listen. He was not cursing Arjuna, but cursing Krishna. What does Krishna do? Krishna tells Bhurishrava, as he was leaving the body, he said, my dear Bhurishrava, he chanted the same mantra as Lord Ramachandra chanted to Jatayu. You are free from sin, you are a pure soul, you don't deserve to be living here, you go to my Vaikuntha planet. Krishna sent Bhurishrava. We cannot take more, we will take Drona's story. And next week, victory of the Pandavas, especially dealing with other soldiers. Now Dronacharya, imagine, for Arjuna, fighting, is the festival for him. But even though it's a festival, still it is the fighting. So there is the pain. There is extremely painful situation for Arjuna. How can you do this? It is not possible. It is better to walk away. It's easy thing to do. But fighting is most difficult. And to fight his guru, Dronacharya, was not very easy. Arjuna's attachment to Drona, even though Dronacharya did not contribute anything to Arjuna after he taught him. Daumya Rishi contributed so much more to Arjuna, Dronacharya contributed so less, but Arjuna was visibly, very vocally, very emotionally respectful to Dronacharya. Never raised that question, Are Gurudev, you did not come to see me. Alright. The battle between Drona and Arjuna was fascinating. Nobody could defeat each one of them. Therefore, Arjuna had gone during the Jayadrath story. Now, death of Dronacharya, we will not get into the complete death of Dronacharya. When the news of killing Drona through telling lies came, nobody hesitated as much as Arjuna hesitated. For Yudhishthira Maharaj, it was not a problem. But Arjuna, it was a great problem. When Dronacharya was causing such a havoc to the Pandavas, imagine Arjuna knew Dronacharya was responsible for death of Abhimanyu. Still he does not think of, I need to bring down Dronacharya. There is no personal agenda nor the agenda for Dharma. These two causes were sufficient for Arjuna to shoot down Dronacharya, but he was so sensitive, so empathetic towards Dronacharya, either one did not move him to make that decision, yes, he needs to be eliminated. But Dronacharya was causing so much of havoc. The way he killed Abhimanyu, right? Karna came and asked Dronacharya, what is the way we can kill? He said, you can't kill fighting from the front. He said, he has a special armor and has to be shot down from behind. Will you want to do it? Dronacharya gets that message to Karna, and Karna, lo and behold, all glories he wants to take. He goes behind Abhimanyu, cuts that thread. Abhimanyu is shocked. What happened? How this happened? Then he realizes that पीछे से war किया गया. Karna want to say, I did not do that, only Dronacharya told me. Dronacharya was thinking, I never did, I just told him. Right? Both were not willing to take responsibility of their action of revealing the truth and destroying Abhimanyu. फिर भी द्रोणाचार्य के प्रति घृणा नहीं अर्जुन की. Right? And therefore, how can somebody become violent reading Mahabharata? Violence is part of existence, right? We may not have great battles of Mahabharata or World War I, World War II. Yes, there are battles that are happening. Ukraine and Russia is fighting. Israel was fighting all along this. America fights, and these are all highly so-called sophisticated Europeans and educated people. Right? The entire subcontinent, the European continent was submerged in battle for World War II, World War II. Killing millions of people. Now they may not kill soldiers, but they kill billions of babies in the womb. While talking about refinedness. Therefore, Will Durant says, human being kills in wholesale and cures in retail. What an irony. करोड़ों को मौत के घाट में उतार देता है, फिर कोई एक दवाई लेकर आता है. Oh, this is a life-saving medicine. Right? The seed, yesterday those farmers were saying about the seed. It is not going out of my mind only because Yaksha also was told by Yudhishthir, the seed is the lifeline, and most of us, we don't know about the seed also. Actually Maya kya hai malum hai? The actual Maya is, everything else Maya is okay. But the greatest Maya is that we consider food to be food even though it is nothing but manipulated. उसमें प्राण है जिसको हम चावल के, we are calling the rice as rice, the pulao as the pulao, we are calling sweet rice as a kheer, genetically modified, causing harm to Mother Bhumi. The Bhumi Sukta says, do not harm Bhumi, do not injure Bhumi. She is not the laboratory for us to experiment. भूमि देवी के साथ में अन्याय करके उस ग्रेन को हम कैसे भगवान को अर्पण कर सकते हैं? Is it not the responsibility of everyone? I'm not saying every temple, everyone, those who are part of running the temple, to be conscious of offering not simply loving bhoga, but natural ingredients. Right? So Arjuna, right, his connection to Drona, वो बीज इतना गहराई में घुस गया था कृतज्ञता का, he was not willing to see the damage caused by Dronacharya on the day of slaughtering of millions of soldiers. Krishna told this Brahmana has to be stopped. He is worst. He is causing so much of violence, but who will stop him? Only way we can stop him, if you remember, on the very first day when Arjuna came up on the chariot, Yudhishthira Maharaj walked. There he had revealed a secret that if I hear any one of my close family or son is dead, I will stop fighting. Krishna remembered that. And he said, my dear, only way to destroy Dronacharya is to tell him that his son is dead. Arjuna was uncomfortable. Yudhishthira was accepted that. Krishna did not order. Please read the Mahabharata. It was Manthan happening. Yudhishthira Maharaj accepted the proposal. It did not take much time for Yudhishthira Maharaj to accept the proposal. He executed the proposal. While executing the proposal, he made that statement, Kunjarava, Marova, Kunjarava. Right? Dronacharya could not hear properly. Yudhishthira wanted to have a white lie, but the impact was the same. What is the impact was the same? Ashwathama is dead. He put down his weapons. He fought some more time. Bhima was blasting him, Dronacharya. Eventually the sages told him, as Drona was sitting on meditation, Ashwathama went crazy. Drishtadyumna went crazy. Right? As he was being stopped by Satyaki and others, Drishtadyumna ran, grabbing the shikha of Dronacharya. He slaughtered the Guru, Drona. And what a pain for Arjuna. Arjuna, the outburst against this whole episode is fascinating. He told Yudhishthira, how in the world could you do this, my dear brother? For a small piece of land, your own guru, a Brahmana, elderly person, he had kept his weapon down. How could you do in this world? Hell with you. Just like Lord Ramachandra shot Vali from behind, you are performing the same crime. It is unbearable. Arjuna has an outburst. He chastises Yudhishthira Maharaj, indirectly chastising Bhima. He is angry with Krishna also in the form of Lord Ramachandra, because his emotions, his respect for his martial guru was so great. And what do you see there? Here Krishna is watching all of this. And it is explained that Dronacharya, when he was living, he caused so much of pain to the Pandavas. Even after his departure, it was not so easy for the Pandavas. Alright, Drishtadyumna was blasting Bhima. Satyaki was blasting Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna saying, Arey, what you are talking about? How did you kill Bhurishrava? Was it fair on your part? Right? And Arjuna was seen by Bhima with amusement. Arey, how can you speak like this, being our brother? It was so unfair on his part. Right? Dronacharya departed, causing conflict, but there was Krishna. He pacified. Why did he pacify? Because when Ashwathama heard the death of his father, he went frenzy. He went totally angry, upset, hurt. He said, I will destroy the entire Pandavas within no time, because he had Narayanastra. Right? But he didn't know, he knew, but still he didn't know that this Narayanastra is there with me, but Narayana is with the Pandavas. Right? When the news reached to the Pandavas that Narayanastra is coming, Duryodhana was extremely happy, because Ashwathama told him, alright, today I am going to release Narayanastra, and nobody has the power to encounter. And Narayanastra is not going to only shoot one person, it will destroy the entire army. You know, imagine Duryodhana was in 7th heaven, and when the Yudhishthira Maharaj got to know, he said, oh, today is over. Then Krishna announced to everybody, I know the solution for Narayanastra. Everyone, it means everyone, put your weapons down. Nobody holds any weapons with them. Everyone bows down, whether you are on the horseback, whether you are on the elephant, whether you are on the chariot, whether you are an ordinary soldier, everyone lie down on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, not touching any weapon. Alright? Everybody was doing it except Bhima. I said, this will not happen from my side. I cannot keep my weapons down. That is an insulting to me. I will stand myself. When the Narayanastra was released, and Bhima told Arjuna, Arjuna, you can't do this. How can you do this? Arjuna said, for me, Lord Narayan, Brahmana, cows, I will not raise my weapons. So absolutely there is not a problem. See here, Arjuna was so strong, so rigid about Dronacharya. But when it is not Dronacharya, he is extremely smart and very relevant. He said, I don't care, because it is Narayan, it is Narayanastra. If it is a Brahmana, it is a cow, I don't. And then he went down. But that doesn't mean that the Pandavas were losing. As the weapon concentrated and coming towards Bhima, Arjuna minimized its power by Varunastra. Not minimized its power, at least he stopped, he released the Varunastra. Both Krishna and Arjuna ran to Bhima and they dragged him to the ground. Right? 10,000 hati wale ko, the person who had that strength of 10,000 elephant, he was simply dragged by a flute player and a veena player, because the love had so much of power. The care was much power. As they dragged Bhima down and they laid down, the Narayastra went away. And Ashwathama celebrated, I taught them the lesson. Everybody had to bow down. Duryodhana was not interested in listening to this. He didn't want them to bow down. He wanted them to be down for good. So Krishna protected the Pandavas. Krishna protected the Pandavas, and Arjuna accepted that proposal of going down. No ego. It was a strategy. In this way, the Pandavas going every step ahead, inching closer to the victory. But that victory did not come in a way which was natural and desirable. How was it coming? As the battle demands, with so much of pain, so much of roller coaster, so much of emotional outburst. It was not an easy feat, but there was no other choice. The battle was not chosen by the Pandavas. It was no option. That is how life is designed. Thank you very much, and we will meet next week for our last session. Hare Krishna.